This is going to be a 2-point Red Sox fans have wanted to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to be a 2-point play. It's over. And the Kings have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Woo! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet. I am Brandon Combs, host of the Triple Shot Sports Podcast, joined as always by my sidekick, Soup Boss. Soup Boss, how's it going,
sidekick.
Buddy?
I'm not wearing no damn cape. Don't call me your sidekick. Get the hell out of here. You know what's great? It's a couple shows ago I sat here during that intro and was like, God, I'm so depressed. I'm not going to hear those sounds. But that was Patriots and Red Sox, which Sox, stop winning games. Like, we got it. You're done. Like, we want you to lose. But, man, my Bruins and C's all of a sudden – got to shift that focus, baby. They're tearing it up. They're tearing it up. So
yeah, the Bruins
still life in being the annoying Boston fan. They're still alive.
Yeah, I mean, the Bruins look good. The Celtics look really good right now. Celtics and Raptors look like they're the teams to beat over there in the East. But we'll get to that here in a moment. We got some good stuff lined up for you. We got some baseball talk. We got our NFL playoff predictions. We're going to do we're going to do the playoff bracket, and then we're going to do the off-season awards as well. And then we'll get to some way or no way and some shop talk. So let's get right into it, Soup. So the story of the day is, Mr. Thom Brenneman over there in Cincinnati. He's been suspended indefinitely. He used a, homophobic slur, as they would say. And, you and I were talking about this last night. I reached out to you, asked if you had heard about it. I seen it on Twitter. And we kind of have a difference of opinion a little bit on it. But why don't you go, what do you think about this whole Thom Brenneman thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's make it clear. There's no place for hate in a lot of aspects. Now, we talk about it all the time with other things, like with the athletes. You tell them to calm down. You tell them to not swing at a 3-0 pitch when they're hot. You tell them to not get overly pumped when they make a big hit. Like, in that aspect, sports brings out emotions in every way, shape, or form. So when there's a slip of the tongue, even with announcers who get in it, right? Because some of our announcers go into the Hall of Fame as well. They have some of the most memorable, that stole the ball, all these different, Bird steals the ball, all these famous calls that we all know around the world. Madden going Brett Favre all the time. So these guys have these, they have these calls that are historical. So they're as much of the game too, right? Because we hate on them just as much. Like, I can't stand Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth. It drives me insane, like, listening to those two. And that's so much of an emotional part of it. So they are just as much a part of this game for us at home. And especially now in the current world, they make the difference. Getting used to no fans in the stadium, even though it's still hard for me, the sound piping has gotten a lot better by the people, which we brought up, but also more or less, though, the announcers are getting more comfortable. They're getting into it more. They're learning how to interact with one each other, like you and I do here, not in the same room, and yet we can do this. They're doing that with each other in a way that doesn't affect worrying about the crowd. So all these things are amazing. So all this stuff I'm saying, I get that during emotional times, there may be a slip of the tongue. They may go a little crazy, go excited. The problem is that this was not one of those situations. There's nothing happening. But he was at work, okay? What you do in your own time, in your own home, even if you're a hateful person, which I do not think that was the full directive of this. This is not like a white supremacist aspect or something like that. What you do there in your own privacy, 100%, whatever, okay? He was at work. Just because that little button wasn't on, or he thought it was on this mic because he was doing an intro into the game, doesn't mean that that's not okay. And the way he said it, and the way he used a term that's a derogatory term towards the gay and lesbian community and use it in a way to degrade a city. He could have just been like, man, this city, he could have been like, God, this city's just such a dump. Man, I can't stand the smell of this place when I come here. And of course, the people in that city would have found out about it and been like, we hate that announcer. And some people have been like, thank God you said something. That city is a dump. But he didn't do that, man. He used a term that's derogatory and in an extremely negative way used it to really put the nail in the coffin to how much he hated a city. And it's not okay, man. Like, you're at work. If I get caught saying that at work, and when I'm walking to the bathroom and I think no one's listening to me, I'm going to be held accountable. And my last point on it is, it's 2020. We are now in every way, even the common man, you and I are doing everything on a digital aspect. At what point are people in the entertainment, sports, professional, Hollywood, every world, at what point are people going to start realizing you are always being recorded?
Yeah.
When you went from the day of Ray Rice and what happened with him, and that wasn't the first one, but that was one of the biggest ones because it was an elevator camera. And guess what? That means someone saw it happening because they look at we watch everything. We're ingrained. I'm sitting here right now doing this with you, and I'm watching the Bucks and Magic game on my lap. Like, I keep looking down to check out what's going on because we're so ingrained with it.
Yep.
Be careful. You know, it wasn't right what he did, but at the same time, why anymore?
Here's my thing, and I think I kind of addressed this with you last night. Okay. I completely understand that there are terms that are considered derogatory, but I also completely understand that we're in a day and age where everybody is looking for a reason to be offended. And not knowing the aspect of the conversation that they were having off camera while they were on a break, and then they came back early, and unfortunately for him, you know, the comment that he made about whatever conversation they were having was they caught the words that he spoke about them. Now, we all have, you know, our friends, we all have our cliques, we all have certain things that we say amongst friends and amongst family that probably aren't accepted in a work environment per se. So that's where I agree. Like, he certainly was in a spot where he's at work. I mean, you know, so yes, does he deserve to be suspended? Absolutely. Does he deserve to lose his job? I mean, this is Thom Brenneman, a guy who's been in the game for 33 years, has never really had any issues at all. Nobody's ever complained about things that he said, you know, that type of stuff. So I don't want to say you have to give him a pass here, but man, did you see his face when he was apologizing? Like, he was mortified that he let that come out on national TV. And obviously, I mean, it's easy to say, yes, of course he was sorry because he got caught, but he was really, really contrite with his apology. He was very forthcoming. You know, he apologized. He says that he figures himself as a man of faith, which is a whole nother conversation, because as a man of faith, it doesn't surprise me that he would say words like that.
I disagree. We don't need to cross that bridge. That one angers me. I'm so sick and tired of people using their faith to make it a defense to why. Like, don't do that. I'm a person of faith, and I say fuck, shit, bitch.
Right, like, but you can't say that a guy who is having a conversation off camera needs to lose his career and needs to have his legacy tarnished for having a conversation off camera that nobody's supposed to hear. That's like being mad at your somebody who you're not supposed to hear a conversation of. They're having a conversation with somebody else about something that you know about, and you hear it. Well, you were eavesdropping and you heard it. It's kind of so. I just don't feel the same way. Like, I get why he's going to be suspended. I get why he's not going to be there the rest of the year. I get why Fox said he's not going to be a part of their football crew, and I understand. I have friends who are gay, so I have family members who are gay. I don't really feel like what he did and what he was saying was coming across as a attack. You know what I mean? He was just having a conversation with a friend that was overheard.
But when you heard that sentence, have you had the chance to actually? Because I've decided. I told you last night. I saw the tweet and I heard about it and I read some stories, but I didn't hear it. So I told you I got to wait till I hear it. I've heard it. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times. And you bring about, hey, if this was a conversation that shouldn't be heard, but again, I'll bring this up. You're at work. You're punched in. You are going to be heard. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. You are sitting in a seat in which your employer is giving you the funds to be able to take care of your life, to do for them. So first off, he's at work, whether it's supposed to be heard or not. I don't care. But in that aspect, and when you listen to that sentence, and I understand context is so important, right? We get so many things lost with the national media and headlines because they get to pull whatever they want. They make you feel whatever they want, which you're 100% right. Cancel culture is way too high. We jump to conclusions too quickly. Absolutely. That's why I told you I need to hear it first. But at what point did you listen to that sentence? Did you not think that it was anything but a strictly negative statement? And I'm not saying because of that, I believe, and I'll hop on your other point, which was losing his career. But just for the point of this, hearing that sentence, what part of that sentence made you think that it wasn't a negative or a hurtful statement?
I didn't say it wasn't negative or it wasn't a hurtful statement. I said I didn't think he had any. He wasn't trying to attack anybody with the statement. You know what I mean? Like he was
attacking the whole city.
He was attacked. He was asked a question and he gave his opinion on it. Now, whether or not he came across tactful or whether or not he came across professional is a completely different conversation. Because I'll tell you right now, as a carpenter myself, when we're in the office and we're in an office full of guys, man, the conversations that we have are unreal. I mean, you can imagine the language that goes on. Some of us were military as well. So the foul mouth language that we have and the things that we say. And if a woman came into that office and heard those same things, we'd have to create an HR department just to handle the situation.
They do have an HR department.
So if we're talking like this and we're in a building and it's behind closed doors and we're saying the stuff, but the walls are thin and somebody, a female or somebody who's offended by what we're talking about walks past the door and hears it, are we, should we apologize? Absolutely. Yeah. But should we lose our job? Should we be in trouble?
On the severity. It depends on the
what
severity.
We say behind closed doors and amongst friends. I don't know. I
guess your point of like behind.
Right. I just don't feel like it's as humongous as a situation. I think that, 10, 15 years ago, this thing doesn't blow up the way that it's blowing up right now. And I think it's because of the world that we live in right now in this current situation and everything that we're dealing with all of the protests and all of the riots and COVID and everybody being cooped up. I think that we are ultra sensitive now to some of the things that we're hearing. And now things are just going to be magnified at a level that they wouldn't have been in the past.
Yeah, but the aspect though, and you and I have gotten to know each other as we've gone through this show. For people that are listening to this, Mr. Combs and I, though we share some connected friends, we didn't know each other from ass to foot before this really at all. So we've gotten to know each other more and family and build this relationship, which is what I love. I now consider you, though you're wrong 80% of the time on sports opinion stuff, I consider you one of my close friends now. But with that said, I don't know if you know this, I work in HR. So now I consider myself the stepbrother or the redhead stepchild in the HR group because attend to what I do is to be of the people. And that means I go out to dinners and I meet people who are skilled to a certain fashion that we want to bring them in. That means that sometimes I'm having conversations pertaining to the aspects of their life or sports or stuff, and I slip out, like I say, the F word, I say bitch, I say something like that because we're getting comfortable, maybe we have some drinks.
Right.
But we do not, because I'm at work. I don't go into the aspect of being judgmental or hateful unless it's in a joking manner. That's the other thing with this. If I go, man, New York is just a trust me, as a Sox fan, man, I can't stand New York. Screw the Yankees and everyone that roots for them. That's in a joking manner. But saying at New York City is a bunch of it's a city loaded with FAGSs and in a hateful way. Not only am I attacking a city in a hateful manner, I'm using a term that describes a group of people, my friends, my family, as a way of meaning that it is wrong, it is negative. And I'm not disagreeing with you. As someone in HR, trust me, I sit around and hopefully none of my coworkers are hearing this, but we had something with a pen today where someone lost their pen. And I was like, this is not an HR situation here. What the heck is going on? But what you said 10, 15 years ago, this wouldn't have blown up. You're 100% correct, but that is part of the problem because trust me, still today, there are things that are said and done that are not okay. Well, right. I don't care if it's behind a closed door. When you are in a place of work, especially if you're in entertainment and you have one of these microphones in front of your mouth.
Right.
Just because you don't think they're going to play, that's the problem. He should know better than now.
You're 100% correct there.
Now, my last point is to answer your question, should he lose his career? No, I do not think so. Because of what you said is the exact same. This is not someone who is a repeat offender. This is not someone whose character is coming to question. Now, we have seen something. Raise your hands if you've never made a mistake in your life. Okay? This was a bad mistake, though, for him. Ray Rice is a perfect example. Michael Vick is a perfect example if we're going to stick in the sports world.
Right.
But people who made some really bad mistakes. And what happened? They were given the opportunity to see why they were wrong. They were given the opportunity to understand why it is. And based on what you were saying, and I saw it as well, he looked mortified. Now, I think half of that was mortified because, oh, my God, I got caught. But I think part of it might have been like at some point you get so relaxed. And it's why I got to be careful. When I take clients out to dinners, I don't have that one too many drinks because that relaxed state becomes I say something I shouldn't say. And that's, I think, happened. He needs to go through, though, the process of understanding why he's wrong and give him a chance, though, to then be a voice as to say, I was wrong because of this and work with the gay community and be a partner with them.
In that same aspect, like you're saying, like you bring up Ray Rice and you bring up, Michael Vick and all that. There are also a lot of people, and you probably know this working in HR, and we used to tell our young Marines this as they were coming up through the ranks. The first thing we would tell them is be careful what you say because
100%.
You can walk up to somebody and for sake of argument, if a young man walks into a room and he sees a young woman and he's just being polite and he says nice hair or I like what you did with your hair or he says hi and she takes offense to it, now you're getting a sexual harassment suit or you're getting something where anything can be misconstrued and anything can be used and said that they're offended. And that is the problem that we're living in today, is that no matter what you say, no matter what context you say it in, it could just be offensive. And, the word that he used has also been, I've heard people say it for cigarettes. That's what another term for cigarette.
We're not in London in the 1970s.
No, but I'm saying there's also I've been to I have gay friends. I've been to gay bars. I've been to I played softball with on gay softball teams. I've been there and I know the environment. There's a lot of stuff that they say to one another.
Yeah, I know.
But it again, that's where you get to the point of.
But they say stuff. But they say stuff, and everything that you're saying makes complete sense, and you're 100% right of the sensitivity aspect and being careful and words that are used even within the culture and everything like that. You're 100% correct. But the difference is the context in which you're using it. And I'm sorry, man, I've listened to that thing 5, 6, 7 times. In fact, I did it last night. I had a rough day yesterday. I had a rough night. I was up way later than I should have been. And I listened to it. And I said, you know what? Hold on. I went to work. I got through a bunch of stuff. I started doing our social media. I got in the frame of mind. I was in a good mood. I was like, I'm going to listen to it again because when we first react to things, like you said, not 9 times out of 10, but I'd say half the time, the way we first emotionally react, we don't put thought behind it. It's emotional. It's how we are built. I listened to it again, more of a thought process. And I said that it was just still a hateful statement. I do think he should be suspended. And I do think that he needs to face punishment of some sort. But I think because of his character, he needs the ability
being suspended
to work through it and to be a partner and a voice for why that type of language, especially when you've got this microphone in front of you, man. You got
that's why being suspended and losing your spot with Fox for the NFL and all that other stuff. I mean, that there's your punishment, and you apologize,
and he can earn it back.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy's been in the game for 33 years, so I think in the end, it'll all go away. He'll always have this little black mark there, but it's unfortunate. So another story that I want to get to is a little bit lighter hearted, kind of. I think we're.
By the way, if you notice on social media, I didn't put this up because I was like, well, we need more people to follow and share and everything. But I was like, I am not opening up the emotional storm by putting his face in his name. So I actually, we'll let the show be our voice there.
So Joe Bauer got warned today by the MLB about his cleats the other night. Now, if you guys haven't seen these cleats, these are freaking sweet cleats. One side of it says "Free Joe Kelly," and the other side has a picture of Joe Kelly making his face at Carlos Correa. And then, not only did he wear these cleats, he tweeted at Carlos Correa and said, "Hey, if you want a pair of these cleats, let me know. I can send them to you." I absolutely love Joe Bauer. This guy.
I don't know if this will work, but if you could see there, Free Joe Kelly, and then there's Joe Kelly's pout face. And if you don't know who that is, that's Bauer. Now he did end up wearing them in the game because he was warned about it.
Right. And now, so he tweets Carlos Correa and says, "Hey, if you want them, I can get you." But to me, that was a gangster move. Like, if you could go up and have one of those Thug Life videos where the glasses come up on the guy, that would have been Joe Bauer last time. My God, I love Joe Bauer.
Did you see the shirt he wore after the game? Seeing he couldn't wear the cleats. Did you see what he did? Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, because it wasn't really that big of a story, his cleats were. He took his jersey off after the game was over and was going out and doing the high fives. He had his glove on his helmet, just looking like Dennis the Menace. I don't give two shits. And it said, send them or send it or something like that from the famous thing where he got pissed. I think he was Cleveland. And turned around and just hucked the ball from the mound over the center field wall because he was pissed. It was like him just being like, I don't care. Like, this is who I am.
And this guy, I mean, and here's another case of baseball being baseball. Like, let this guy wear the fucking cleats.
No.
Why?
No.
Don't tell me. Why not?
Holy cow! I can't believe you're going this far, man.
No, why?
Because
you go to an NBA, you watch an NBA playoff game right now. What's on the back of their jerseys?
Right, politically
freedom of expression, right?
No. Careful. You're talking about political thing. They have not given the full right that you can put anything on the back of those jerseys. I've heard that argument about 10 times today, and I brought up the list of names that were completely told, no, you cannot put that on the back. They were allowing up to a certain thing. I fully get. I love his attitude. I love that he tweeted the video. I love the fact that he was like, fine, I'm not going to wear the cleats. I'm going to wear this shirt where it's shitting on myself. What are you going to do, baseball? Suspend me because I shat on myself? But this is not something where it's a peaceful political protest or a social protest of free Joe Kelly because Joe Kelly's really sitting in jail. It's him shitting on the Astros and shitting on Major League Baseball. This is not a guy who's going out with a peaceful or thoughtful process. It's him throwing up middle fingers and being like, F you baseball, F you Astros, I don't give two shits, screw you. That's not you going, I'll just let him wear it because NBA players are wearing it. No, it's a different frame of mind. If on the back of the NBA police, let's get real, if it said, NBA jerseys, if it said F the police, because they're saying, screw you police, screw you system, do you think that would just be okay? Of course not. That wouldn't be okay. And that's what he was doing without saying the F word. It was him saying F you MLB, F you Astros. I think it's hilarious, but come on, man. You can't let him wear those cleats.
I keep calling him Joe Bauer. It's Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer. I think I said Joe after you, too, and I knew it was Trevor.
I'm thinking Joe Kelly. I even wrote Joe Bauer in the thing. Man, oh, man. Anyway.
People are subscribing.
Our
whole 5 subscribers from last week just gave out.
If you're going to allow all the things that you're allowing with all of the the freedom of expression that you're allowing, all the things Major League Baseball has done for the Black Lives Matter movement and all the things that they've done to get that stuff out there and bring awareness to a situation that, needs awareness brought to it. You can't stop and say, look, we're going to do this. We're going to allow all of this to happen. But this guy, stands up for one of his fellow pitchers. And now all of a sudden we're going to stop and say, oh, you can't express yourself in this. Get out of here. I'm sick of that. We have that.
You're talking about large social scale system like issues that people are on both sides of the fence on, that are talking about things such as police brutality in which people have died, whether you agree with how it happened or not. People are dead, and talking about a guy who purposely threw the ball at some guys and got suspended. Like, you can't keep putting those two. You try to connect these things and they're not. And I'm telling you, I already told you the aspect of what these cleats were, that would be like an NBA player saying "fuck the police" on the back of the jersey. And the NBA's not letting them do it. And the MLB's not letting anyone express themselves, period. We've already talked about this. You think the old fuddy-duddy MLB who just sat there and we just had to listen to a coach throw his young, exciting player under the bus for swinging on a 3-0 pitch, you think that all of a sudden they're going to be like, hello, hell yeah, have fun, wear those cleats.
Yeah.
Nah, man. The game is if they're for it, and I also think the comparison's a little weak, my friend. Little weak.
Moving on. We got
as hell, though.
Pujols, who last night he tied for – I looked at this up. So I saw the thing on ESPN that said he tied for second with A-Rod. It's actually third.
I was going to say, I saw it in the write-down. I was like, I swear it was third place.
Yeah, it's third place. But ESPN had the article up and said tied him for second place.
Well, don't worry.
It's third place.
ESPN got Philly fans the other night all excited because all the other teams sucked, the Phillies and the 76ers. But then they were like, hey, final in the Philadelphia Flyers game against the Canadians, and they put 3-3 was the final. And then they ended up getting lost. They lost 5-3. So the ESPN was off big time.
Yeah. So Pujols has been a consummate professional. This guy, I hated him in St. Louis because he was a Cub killer. But I absolutely love the guy and respect what he's done in the game of baseball.
Yep.
He was a guy who signed one of them big contracts that didn't really live up to the potential of that contract. But he has come back over the last 2 or 3 years. And he's been a really productive player in that lineup. And last night, he ties A-Rod for third on the all-time RBIs list. Good for him. Albert Pujols is absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer as well. This guy's a no-brainer. So, kudos to him. I just wanted to get him out there and mention him on the show tonight. We
had in Sports Soup, I think before the season started, we had a little meme, and I think you and I went on it a little bit, and we actually talked about this. It said, which one of these 4 things will happen first this season? And I can't remember what the other 3 were, because I just remember looking at them all. To me, Albert Pujols, I think it was passing second on the RBI list, would happen first this year in comparison. And it sounds weird because I don't remember what the other 3 were, but I know it would spark my memory, and none of the other things have come across yet. So I think that he's doing exactly what that was going to do. And like you said, good for him. He signed the big contract. Hey, they deserve to get to pay. If someone wants to give him the contract, just like you and I, if someone walked up to me and wanted to double my salary and I wanted to sign that contract, it's my right to, okay? So good for him in that aspect. Of course, the whole Angels team, him being on that, I've told you, until the Angels somehow prove that they aren't the Angels, they're going to always be the Angels. But the great thing is that, like you said, professional through and through. Great guy with the fans. You see so many videos of him. I was in Tampa Bay watching a game in person. It was against the Angels. We got real cheap tickets because it's Tampa Bay. And he was fantastic with the fans, all 15 of us fans that were there. He was great with them. And he deserves it. Exactly. First ballot Hall of Fame for sure, unlike Carmelo Anthony, who is not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Islanders just jumped up on Washington. They're up 1-0 already.
Yeah, they're playing, man. That's a team right there. That's a team game. Beers. I thought I said Bears. I thought he was trying to get on your good side.
Beers. Joshua CV has some of the worst football takes I've ever. I think he does this on purpose. Daniel Dimes Jones. Yeah, Dime Bags maybe.
He's trying to get under my skin, thinking by a Giants player and a Jets player, it's going to bother me. But the problem is both those guys suck. Their teams combined are not going to get more than 6 wins. And he all of a sudden has turned his back on his Minnesota faithful and Lamar Jackson and cheating on them for a team that doesn't even play in the city. They're a New Jersey team. They suck. I don't care.
Garrett Parrish says he should have been fired for his apology. He apologized to all the people who write his checks and save people he offended for, and also called the home run mid-apology. Yeah, did you hear that?
Yes.
Like,
but listen, I don't blame him for that because that is what he knows what to do.
Yeah.
And he all of a sudden was in an uncomfortable situation. The game didn't stop. The game didn't pause. So
Strikeout beer. Cheers. Rapid Dave. Cheers. Jared, I'll fight the whole Yankee team.
Damn right, buddy. Damn right.
He said, lost a pen, send him a dollar store and move on. How do you feel about the Hornets announcer? What happened to the Hornets announcer? Did I miss something?
I don't know what we're talking about here.
What happened to him on Twitter? Steven, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, little brother. Love you, bud. The Hornets announcer, we've only been on Stevie for like a half hour, if you're at this point. So, but the Hornets announcer, yeah, I didn't know if you were going to tie this in. He made a, I don't know if it's Hornets. Are you sure it's Hornets? I don't think it was. It was something where it was two teams, and one of the teams was Nuggets.
Yep.
And instead of Nuggets, he spelled the N-word that's close to Nuggets in the tweet.
Ooh.
And complete accident on what he said was a complete accident, and he rushed, and he said, I didn't check and do what I was supposed to do. Now, he deleted it right away, but his apology came like 4 hours later.
Was it like for me, it gets me all the time is autocorrect if I'm typing on my phone. Like, I'll tell you right now, one time I was arguing with my ex, and she said something to me, and I went to type "you can't," and "you can't" is not the word that popped up, and so autocorrect can get you in some trouble.
It can get you in some trouble.
But
here's the problem with it, and what people are bringing up, and now you have people because that's what he said. He said at first he said it might have been autocorrect, but then he also said, look, the U and the T are right next to the I and the R. I went too fast. I made the first mistake in this, which you always check what you do, and I was in a rush to do it, and I didn't check it. But then he made some comment about autocorrect. The problem is now people are on fire going, look, when I type in NIG in my phone, it doesn't start bringing up that word. And autocorrect,
you had to have typed it before.
You had to type before. So my friend, the fact that you said can't to your wife probably meant that you've typed that before and your phone recognized it. Like, it doesn't recognize duck anymore with me. It changes the word duck constantly to a word that rhymes with it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Twins are winning, and the Twins are going to win until they get to the World Series, CB.
Oh, boy.
I'll give you that.
Sorry I came in late. I was watching Daniel Jones highlights.
Spanking his knee to him.
And I am the professor who here just enjoys sports when the game officially starts. Stop paying attention to what happens off the field, court, or other playing ground. I stopped paying attention to the extra drama and have been enjoying the new record moments occurring between the foul. Yeah.
But the announcers, though, I disagree with you. I said it. The announcers are a part of this. It's why we get so emotionally driven about it.
Tim joined us late. That was like the first 20-minute conversation we had. All right, guys. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back from break, we are going to get to our much anticipated NFL playoff predictions. I know you guys have been waiting all week for this. So we're going to get to it. We'll do playoff predictions and we're going to do MVP, LVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, all of the above. When we come back, be back here in about 90 seconds. What's going on, Triple Shot Sports family? This is Brandon Combs, host of the best podcast on the planet. That's the Triple Shot Sports Podcast. Be sure to join myself and Soup Boss Chad Louder live for 2 hours. Yes, I said 2 hours every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Central on the RTF Sports Network Facebook page and YouTube. And if you miss any part of the show, you can hear us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on your drive home at 5 p.m. Eastern on rtfsportsnetwork.com.
can't see the writing on the wall. All on social media, writing down your thoughts, writing on your walls. Shit, I'm guilty of it too. Few comments almost made me come glue. Had to put my phone down, pick up my Bible, spent time praying in the pews. Spent time praying for the youth, including my mountain raising too. Boys need to understand what it takes to be a man standing for the truth. When you stand on the truth, don't stand out me to say it too. No one's listening when you dissing, they just stand and wait to shoot. So I won't take a knee, I'd rather take two. That's what it takes to see breakthrough. Okay, cool, no, I don't hate you, but understand why I'm taking two knees. Is one for Jesus and the other is to make a truce.
All right. So we are back, and it is time for our NFL postseason predictions. Now, just to go ahead and recap, I'm just going to go over the division winners real quick. In the AFC, we both agreed that Buffalo was winning the East. We both agreed that Baltimore was winning the North. We both agreed that Tennessee is winning the South, and we both agreed that Kansas City is winning the West. In the NFC,
don't like how much we agreed with half of this crap, man.
In the NFC, we both agreed that the Eagles are winning the East. We both agreed that Minnesota is winning the North. We both agreed that Tampa Bay is winning the South. And we both agreed that Seattle is winning the West. We are in agreement on every division champion out there. I believe we have
our seedings are a little different.
I think our seedings are just a tiny bit different. So let's go first. I will start first with the first round in the NFC. I have Tampa Bay has the bye. They are the 1 seed. I have Seattle as the 2 seed taking on the San Francisco 49ers as the 7 seed. And I have the Seattle Seahawks winning that game and moving on. I have the Philadelphia Eagles as the 3 seed and the Bears as the 6 seed. I actually have the Bears pulling off the upset as the 6 seed in that game.
Here's my shock face.
And I have the Minnesota Vikings as the 4 seed, the New Orleans Saints as the 5 seed, and I have the the Minnesota Vikings beating the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints cannot the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. They just can't.
That's
the same old nemesis for the New Orleans Saints.
Our whole 2 subscribers from the New Orleans area just took it off and they just said, I'm not dealing with this crap anymore. It's not happening.
Right. What do you have going in the first round in the NFC?
Yeah, so we had a couple differences here. We're the same in every aspect, but the seeding was different because of the record. Even though we were only off a couple games or 2, I actually want to bring up this insanity. When I looked at my records, when I looked for the 6 and 7 seed, I had 3 potential teams because I had 3 at 10 and 6, which again compared to the AFC is garbage. Where I think the 7th seed was an 8 and 8, and it was between 2 teams. I didn't even bother checking who's going to be the tiebreaker there. But I went there. I was like, okay, head to head, what is it? Because I had the Cowboys, the Bears, and the 49ers. And it was like, well, the only one that had it was the Cowboys beat the 49ers, so they had that. So I was like, okay, what's the NFC win-loss? And it was like the Bears and the Cowboys at 7 and 5, the 49ers at 6 and 6. So I went through all that. I was like, okay, 49ers are out. So the 49ers, even at 10 and 6, not in the playoffs. Don't get it. In that aspect. Then I was like, well, who's going to be 6 or 7? And I was like, okay, well, they both were 7 and 5 in the NFC. They didn't face each other. Okay, their divisional records. They're both 4 and 2. So I said, screw it. And I flipped a coin. And Chicago got the 6th seed. So whether or not that based on everything is how it's going to be, because I didn't want to go to the next layer of tiebreakers. Your boys got the 6th seed and the Cowboys got the 7th seed. So in the first round, 2 versus 7, I've got the Bucs going against Cowboys. There's nothing that would make my the Bucs at 13 and 3. Just Tom Brady, just giving Dallas Cowboy fans even more reasons to cry, because if they get into the playoffs, they're gonna, even at the 7th seed, gonna think that they're the greatest things ever. So I got the Bucs beating them. The 3-6 is the Vikings at 12 and 4 versus your boys Chicago. Man, I really wanted to pick Chicago. Man, I'm high on them like you are too. But I'm really, as long as Cook can stay healthy, I think the Vikes got that. I give them the win there.
Got to sign a contract first.
What's that?
Got to sign a contract first.
Yeah, well, he's still in it this year. Hey, quit Quit going down the list of our stuff. Quit going down our stuff. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. And then 4-5, I've got Philly in the 4, win the NFC East at 11-5, Saints at 12-4. And to me, the only reason why the Saints are not winning the division is because Tom Brady and the Bucs, they're a far better team than Philly. And who knows, Carson Wentz is going to step onto the field and roll his ankle and break his pinky finger and get hurt. And a 48-year-old backup they're going to pull out of some boots that's going to come in and play. And the Saints at the 5 seed are going to have it. So I've got the Seahawks getting the first round bye, Bucs, Vikes, Saints.
All right. And in the AFC, I have the Baltimore Ravens are my 1 seed, so they get the bye. I have the Kansas City Chiefs as the 2 seed. The Las Vegas Raiders get the 7 seed.
I was going to say, I thought you were about to say I thought you were calling the Raiders the winner. I was like, hold on, wait a minute.
No. So I have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Las Vegas Raiders in what I think will actually be a pretty close game because those divisional games are always good games, let alone when they get together in the playoffs. But I have Kansas City pulling that one out. And then I have the 3 seed Buffalo Bills versus the 6 seed Houston Texans. I have the Buffalo Bills moving forward to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then the 4 seed versus the 5 seed, I have Tennessee as the 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers as the 5, and I have the Pittsburgh Steelers moving on to face the Baltimore Ravens in the second round. What says you, Soup?
Not too bad. I mean, again, we were pretty close, except I had the Chiefs at the 1 seed, so they get the first round bye. 2 versus 7. I told you the 7th seed. It was the Jaguars and the Browns at 8-8. Don't give 2 shits. Throw up every coin in the world and then blindly pick one of those 2. Neither one of them are going to beat the Ravens, even though Lamar Jackson's had issues every single year. Well, the 2 years he's been in the first round bye. I think both of these teams, even with the Browns' success against them last year in 1 game, I think it's just shot for him to not only be able to finally get over that hump, but I think him not having the first round bye, unlike last year, is going to be better. I think him going in, already working, being in motion, I think it's going to be good. Gardner Minshew is my boy. I'm actually a big Baker Mayfield fan, even though I'm a Texer. Yeah, but neither one of them. I think Baker, if he gets it, if it ends up being the Browns, his excitement all of a sudden it will derail the work that he had going against a hard schedule. And Gardner Minshew just needs a little bit more time, but if he gets them there, good. I think that will be enough to celebrate. So I got the Ravens beating them, and then I've got 3 versus 6. Happened to be, I didn't do this on purpose. The Bills at 11-5, and my Pats at 9-7, lining up with the Bills winning the division.
You've got the Patriots in the playoffs.
Yeah, the 9-7. How did you? I literally said it. Do you just forget shit like that quickly? Yes, the Patriots are 9-7. We went through this. And I remember doing it, and you were like,
stupid shit.
Yeah, we went through the whole conversation about how, like, the West Coast thing. And I said, well, they're going to spend the whole 2.5 weeks out there. And you're like, okay, I could see that. I can respect what you're saying. But now you can't because, God forbid, Bill Belichick puts a team in. But don't worry about it. Get your panties unwadded here because the Bills are going to put their stamp on why they won the AFC East. It's going to be a really, really close game in a cold Buffalo. Set like 17-16. I got the Bills beating the Patriots, giving Bill Belichick a reason to say, screw the shit. I'm going to blow it up, and I'm just going to rebuild it the way I want to do it because then they go into over $100 million worth of cap space every single year after this upcoming season. So I think that's all Bill's waiting for, just like Tom last year was waiting for that season to get over. And then I've got the 4 seed Titans at 10-6, winning that division. And again, a team with a better record, the Steelers at 11-5. I told you, man. Ben, I didn't have him in my top 10 list, but I still think even at his age, he has what it takes. He has the experience. That defense is scary good. And those players on the offense, they just need a good quarterback. Mason Rudolph was the worst quarterback in the league by statistics last year. Ben Roethlisberger knows how to do it. And the 5 seed upsets the Titans, even with Derrick Henry in that team. I like him. I think there was a little bit of magic Tannehill helped them with last year. And the Steelers are going to shut that down. So the Steelers move on.
Alrighty. Moving back to the NFC, the second round.
I flip my paper.
I have Tampa Bay. See, look, you got to do it the right way, man. Without giving away my thing, I don't want anybody to see.
No, I flipped the paper to put. I flipped the paper to put your predictions on the back, where I don't need to look at them and care later on.
Oh man, like your Patriots prediction? Jesus Christ!
I love how you just contradict your whole respectful statement just a few days ago. You friggin' ass.
So in the second round, I have Tampa Bay versus Minnesota and the Bears versus the Seattle Seahawks. In the NFC title game, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Minnesota Vikings to advance to the NFC Championship game.
Wait, what seed did you have the Bears and Vikings in?
I have the Vikings as the 4, the Bears are the 6.
So wouldn't the Bears be facing Tampa Bay?
No.
Yeah, the Bears are the lower seed. The Bears at 6 would be facing Tampa Bay. You're welcome.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, I'm sorry. I misspoke. So either way, I have Tampa Bay
Just
winning.
like you misspoke about being an ass about my Patriots pick.
Tampa Bay is moving on to the NFC title game, and I have Minnesota versus Seattle and the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sorry, Joshua. I'm sorry, but the Minnesota Vikings lose to the Seattle Seahawks. And they have Seattle versus Tampa Bay in the NFC title game.
Okay.
How about you? Who's your NFC title game?
Okay. All right. I was about to say, I thought you were about to go all on Minnesota, and though I'm high on them, not in that matchup. So I've got, based on my lineups here, Seattle Seahawks at the 1 seed with getting against the lower seed. What happens in mine is the 5, which happens to be the Saints, which I think is going to be one hell of a game. New Orleans going up there. Up to Seattle. I don't know if you remember the whole memories of Beast Mode, Grab My D game where they were the higher seed, even though their record was worse. New Orleans went up there, was supposed to spank them, and ended up getting beat. It's gonna follow the same way. Seahawks are gonna win that game. They're gonna win it at home, and it's gonna be the one hell of a showdown, like a 38-35 type game. I really think so. And then the Buck Vikes. I've been high on the Vikings. I still think they're going to be a heck of a team. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. But you and I have said it. My boy Brady has got the best offense he's ever had. And that Vikings defense, Mr. Seavey and all my other Vikings Skull sports suit people, I've said it. This defense to me has got enough holes with some younger guys and some undrafted guys that have to stand up and take some big spots. Tom Brady's just going to lick his chops with that stuff. He's going to know who to pinpoint. I don't care if he throws crosses and slants all days and drop-offs. He's going to annihilate that, and the Bucs are going to move on versus the Seahawks. So,
Browns are losing a starter a day. By the time the season kicks off, they'll be playing with all second string. Mike Reeves, what's going on, buddy?
What it do?
In the house.
What it do?
Draft lottery time. Vikings don't even make the playoffs, says Timothy Ferris. Mike Reeves says bullshit. Skull Vikes.
Hey, I got them going pretty deep, man. We both do.
So moving on to the AFC, I have Baltimore versus Pittsburgh and Buffalo versus Kansas City. Now here's where we disagree. I am almost certain of it. I have the Buffalo Bills moving on to the AFC title game and upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Buffalo's just ready. I think that they're young. I think that defense is poised to make a deep run. And I think this is the year that they actually get to the AFC title game, and they will be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, I keep saying Pittsburgh is better. They get Roethlisberger back, and it's correct. But Baltimore's just too damn good. So I don't see any way where Baltimore loses at home as the 1 seed, and I believe that they move on.
The statement you made, I don't see any way that Baltimore loses at home as the 1 seed, was literally the story of last year's playoffs.
It's not going to happen twice in a row. So I have Baltimore versus Buffalo in the AFC title game. What do you have, Mr. Patriot? Let me guess. Patriots are in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady.
I already have them losing to the Bills, you dumbass. You still don't listen to anything. Jeez.
No, because you have the Patriots in the playoffs. They're going to be 5-11.
I have them in the playoffs and then losing to the Bills. Are you done? Are you done griping?
Go ahead, Homer.
You need to go take your menstrual medicine or something like that.
Go ahead, Homer.
That's okay. I'm not getting paid for this, so I can't get suspended for it. Anyways, so I've got 1 versus 5. I also, in that aspect, have the Chiefs, but it's against the Steelers. And listen, I said I was big on the Steelers. I like the Steelers. I like Ben Roethlisberger. I like that defense very much. But if you give it a year or two, I think you may see a different outcome to that. But the Chiefs are still in an aspect where they have players where they can hold on to them financially. These Kelsey, Mahomes. I'm so tired of, by the way, Chiefs fans being like, oh, this is super team friendly. It's not a super team friendly deal. When the years start to go, it will completely change that, especially with other contracts like Kelsey and everything. You pay your big guys, other big guys you want to bring in, you won't be able to. Trust me, as a Pats fan, unless they start all taking them that way, you're going to have a hard year or two, but it's not yet. They still have all their pieces. So I've got Kansas City beating the Steelers. Pretty good game, 38-30. I think Juju goes off in that game and reassesses himself as one of the best wide receivers in the game, but they lose out. And then I've got Ravens-Bills. And listen, I gave them the pass on the first week and saying that they get over the hump. But that's going to give Mr. Lamar Jackson way too much mental euphorium, and he's going to be on such a freaking high. He's not going to pay attention to what you said. They're young, but they're a hungry defense. I like that defense. As a Pats fan, I get to watch them a lot in that Bills defense, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm so tired of hearing about a very underrated defense. And when you have a defense who can do that and shut down the offense, and when Lamar wants to go rushing and he gets stopped, you give that offense so much energy. And that offense was already a decent offense last year with a bunch of no-name players. And now you went ahead and just added Stephon Diggs. I have them going in to Baltimore, beating the Baltimore Ravens, doing it pretty well, like 24-10, 24-13. I think Jackson, all of a sudden, the next story is going to be how did he get past round 2? So he's going to win his first playoff game. Congratulations. How did you get past round 2? And I've got the Chiefs, and I've got the Bills in the AFC Championship game.
Wow, so we both have the Bills in the AFC title game. Taking on different opponents, but we both got the Buffalo going through. And we both have Tampa Bay and Seattle in the NFC title game.
This is just sickening to me. God.
Soup Boss, who do you have in your Super Bowl matchup?
Straight up, the Kansas City Chiefs, to me, are still the team to beat, period. We've said it about Tom Brady and how that was the way with the Patriots. Everyone was big on Lamar Jackson because this was MVP season. And yet I continue to tell people, as long as Mahomes could get through whatever that injury was, they were going to be just fine. That team ended up getting the 2 seed, even with Mahomes out for part of the season, for crying out loud. They're super talented. Think of the names that all of a sudden for 2-week fantasy became superstars. And you picked them up and Mahomes found them. And then all of a sudden on the 3rd week, you never heard of them again. Like, he makes everyone around him better. They have all the pieces still. They're still the team to beat. They're D Ford offsides away from being back-to-back Super Bowl champions. They're still the best in the AFC, top to bottom. I love Buffalo. I love Allen. I love the addition of Diggs. But what we said about the defense is that they're good and they're underrated. But we also said one thing. They're young. They need more time to be able to stitch together success in that aspect. And so I have Mahomes, once again, driving his team. Like, how do you bet against him? How do you bet against him? You did. But if it's the AFC Championship game, do you bet against Patrick Mahomes? Do you bet against Patrick Mahomes being down by 21 in the second quarter? I don't. I don't. I made easy money last year in the second quarter against Houston, down by 21. All of a sudden, they were a plus 285. I was like, that's the easiest amount of money I'm ever going to make. And they had that back before halftime. It's crazy. Mahomes and the Chiefs go back to the Super Bowl. And then on the NFC side, I love you, Tom. But this season that Russell Wilson's about to put up, where we're talking about Tom having the best offense that he's ever had, Russell Wilson is going to have the best season that he's ever had with less weapons, because I think he's just going to be on another level. I think he's energized. They made great moves at the offensive line where he doesn't have to do it all himself. They've figured it out with Penny and Carson to be a two-headed beast where neither one of them has to be the stars anymore. They've got a solid core of offensive pieces. They went and did what the New England Patriots did, picking up players and making them something. Hollister, which they got from New England, and a couple other pieces have just become fantastic role players. I think Russell Wilson is going to be playing out of his mind. It's going to be in Tampa Bay. It's going to be a game away from the Super Bowl, being in the host team. It's going to be Tom Brady proving all the doubters wrong and everything, and all this big euphoria and everything about the great offense and everything that Tampa Bay has. And I think they're going to overlook the testicular fortitude that Russell Wilson walks around on a daily basis. The man lays in bed with Sierra every single night. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, look, I mean, we've agreed a lot all the way through this thing. We had all the same division winners. We had pretty much all the same playoff teams minus the Patriots. Fuck God. Anyway, and we both have Buffalo in the AFC title game. We both have Tampa Bay versus Seattle in the NFC title game. We disagreed on one team. And
disagreed
that one
on a couple teams. You just like to focus on the Patriots.
That one team in the Baltimore Ravens being in the AFC title game, the Baltimore Ravens are going to the Super Bowl this year. The Baltimore Ravens are ready. Lamar Jackson's ready. They are just unbelievably good. They are going to go in to the AFC title game, and they're going to – Buffalo's just not ready. Like you were saying, that defense, they're still young. They're poised to make a deep run. I just don't see them going all the way to the Super Bowl, especially, having to go through Baltimore to do it. If this game was in Buffalo, I might have picked a different outcome. But being that it will be in Baltimore, I went with the Ravens. I have the Ravens in the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, look, when it comes to title games and when it comes to Tom effing Brady, got the jersey sitting right here. I can't bet against him. I have the Patriot or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a tight one over the Seattle Seahawks, and I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl.
It's fun. It's funny to me that your commentary about Buffalo got flipped, and you didn't bring the commentary at all about how do you see them being so successful against Kansas City in Kansas City, but you think that they can't stand up to Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore Ravens, who you say who are ready, when Mahomes and the Chiefs have been ready for 2 years and counting. Like I'm not questioning you. If it's Baltimore and the Bills in the AFC Championship game, I'm going to bet on Baltimore too. I think it's going to be a close game, and it's going to scare the living crap out of people.
Right.
But I don't think Lamar Jackson has yet proven why he's ready in a playoff atmosphere yet at a full scale to make a big run, whereas Mahomes has. Why do the Bills have the ability to go to Kansas City? And again, Sans fans, that's going to be an interesting thing. But why can he do it? Why can they do it in Kansas City against a team that is proven, but can't in Baltimore against a team that isn't proven?
Because I think that they can go to Kansas City, in the biggest reason is that it's Sans fans, like you were saying. There's no fans there, and Kansas City
that we know of. They're starting the season without fans. We don't. Actually, they're gonna let 22% of their fans in.
Yeah, but it's just not the same, and it's not going to be as loud, and it's not going to be as big of an advantage as it normally is playing in Kansas City. And I think Buffalo is just – I think they're good enough. I think that they showed last year that they were good enough to beat a team like Kansas City. And this year, I just think that they get over the hump. I think it's a huge upset. If Kansas City goes out there and destroys Buffalo and beats them by 3 touchdowns, that wouldn't shock me either. Mm-hmm. But I just think that Buffalo is ready to go out and pull off an upset. And had they been playing Baltimore in the second round, I think they would have beat Baltimore to move on to the AFC title game and then would have lost to Kansas City. I just think that that second round game, they're just going to be coming off of a high after beating Houston. They're going to be riding that high. It's kind of like in the NCAA tournament when that 12 seed keeps going and going and going, and then they get to the Final Four and then they just get blown out. It's just you run out of steam after a little while. You get you get on such a high that you kind of come back down to earth. And I think that's just what happens to them in the AFC title game. So I have Baltimore versus Tampa Bay. You have Seattle versus Kansas City. Who is your Super Bowl champion, Soup Boss?
Seattle, I picked at 14-2. Mm-hmm. I said they made the offensive line better. I said that they found a way with the two-headed beast at running back to not try to replace beast mode. I think they went out and getting Adams from that to me, by the way, we're talking about players opting out and how it hurts teams. it was like a one-day story about Adams from the Jets going to Seattle. That's a beast of a move, absolute beast of a move. That defense is going to be better and stronger. We're going to see a better team, top to bottom. But they made the offensive line better, but they didn't make it the best. And that's going to be just enough that I think that we're going to see. Do you remember that Rams Chiefs Thursday night game 2 years ago? That was just a light show. I think we're about to see one of the most electric. If it ends up being Seattle and Kansas City, I think we're going to see both teams hitting around 40 points, just an absolute light show. But it's going to come down to a final drive where that offensive line is going to show a little bit of a tear on Russell Wilson, and he's going to, unfortunately, whether fumble the ball or make a bad pass, and it's just going to be something where it's just not enough. And to me, until they start having issues with the cap numbers, this Kansas City team is the team to beat in all of the NFL. And I think Kansas City wins their back-to-back and what should have potentially been a three-peat Super Bowl champion, Kansas City. I got them winning 42-40.
You just became Michael Buckheister's best friend. He is a huge Chiefs fan, and he believes the same. He thinks Kansas City is out of this world. I believe that he has. They are. I mean, Kansas City is the team to beat until they get, and that's just how they are going to be. They are going to be the New England Patriots of the next 10 years.
Yeah. Who is shocked? Who was shocked? That's why I said I was shocked that when I opened up my betting line on my app that they put Kansas. I understand they were down by 21, but who the heck was shocked that they came back? Like, the announcers made out like it was this great thing, but I was like, this is arena football. That's what Mahomes has made the NFL. Yeah. It's arena football to him, and it's just out of this world.
How fast that, because I remember when they went up 21-0. Me and my girlfriend ran to the store. I'm like, let's get food for the second game. This one is pretty much in the books because they weren't playing against a horrible defense. That they were playing against the Houston Texans, and the Houston Texans have a pretty damn good defense. And not to mention Deshaun Watson was balling out in that first half. And I go to the store. It's a 3-minute drive to the store. We pull into the parking lot. We go grab our food. We come out of the parking lot. We were there, gone for about 15 minutes. Her dad's calling me up saying, "You won't believe that. What do you mean? It's a tie game." What?
The only thing I regret is because it's just money. I start with a certain amount at the beginning of the season, and it builds. And if I lose it all, then I don't add more. The only thing I regret is because I had plenty of money. Is that I only put 100. I just threw the quick 100 on it, but I was so confident. I had over $400. I was pissed that I didn't just throw the whole 400 on it. To me, that was the easiest plus 285 in the history of sports.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Kansas City repeat. I really wouldn't. I mean, they're that good.
Now, as long as Andy Reid doesn't take, his star quarterback who's got a bum ankle, all of a sudden goes, let's run a quarterback sneak.
Yeah. So I have everybody keeps chiming in. Timothy Ferris, the Ravens choke, man. And I have the Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. And look, until Tom Brady shows me that he can't win big games, until he shows me there's a reason I should bet against him, I'm not betting against him. Not only is Tampa Bay going to be the first team to be able to play a home game in the Super Bowl, even though there might not be fans for that. How awful will that be? Finally get a home game in the Super Bowl and no fans. But they're going to be the first home team to play in a Super Bowl, and they're going to win it. Tom Brady is Tom effing Brady. I've said it before, he's about to play with the best wide receiving core. And you can give me all that. Okay. Like, I get Wayne G all the time saying, "Oh, you can't throw for more than 35 yards." Bullshit. He hasn't had a wide receiver that can get open past 35 yards in the last 5 years. That's why he doesn't throw downfield.
We have a saying in New England about Tommy and Red Bull. Tommy, quit sipping the Red Bull before we get out. Because in the beginning of every single game, he tries for that one big pass, and he overthrows a wide receiver almost every single time outside of when he had Randy Moss. By like 15 yards, he throws it 60 yards down the field. That included last year when his head wasn't in it.
Now he's going to have Mike Evans running downfield.
Right, exactly.
And then he's going to have Godwin. And
his favorite receiver, Gronk.
This team is going to put up numbers. I guarantee this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is about to set some records. It's going to score a whole lot of points, and they are going to go in. And this one too, I feel it's going to be a shootout, and it's going to be one of those games where Tom gets the ball in the last 2 minutes, and he does what Tom does, and he goes out and he wins another Super Bowl, and he proves that why he's the GOAT. Look, this guy is unbelievable, and I will not bet against him. So I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as my Super Bowl champion.
And let me real quick, because obviously I would not be upset with your pick for Tom Brady. And anyone that's just like, oh yeah, because you're a Tampa Bay fan. I'm a Patriots fan through and through. I'm not buying any Bucs gear. I'm not buying any Brady gear. I'm not buying any Gronk gear. Like, I won't do it. I'm a Patriots fan. But just like with when I rooted for Andrew Luck and I root for Gardner Minshew, I'm going to root for, obviously, who was a 20-year player that absolutely brought my franchise. It did something amazing. But people that were going to be like, oh, yeah, how did that go last year against the Titans? Well, if you're going to lift up Lamar Jackson, who lost way worse to the Titans than Brady did, that's one thing. And secondly, he made it very clear in interviews afterwards. He had decided when he signed that contract with no franchise tag, he wasn't coming back. He didn't hold any OTAs. He had one practice with N'Keal Harry, their rookie wide receiver they selected in the first round, which is the opposite of what he's ever done and what you've seen him. But he was ready to be gone out of New England, but he had to ensure that he signed a contract that made it where they couldn't franchise tag him, and he did it, and he said, I'm just getting through this damn season. He was not there to win last year. It's my only gripe with him. It's my only gripe in my own solo podcast where I called him out, and I called him a quitter. I think he quit on the team last year, but it's because he had already wanted to be gone. That's not the Tom Brady you're going to see, to your point, Mr. Combs. And if Tom Brady is in the Super Bowl, you're damn right. And that's the only reason I didn't put him in the Super Bowl, because I didn't want to sit here and be a Tom Brady homer and just be like, you can't beat him in the Super Bowl. He's invincible.
Remember when the NFL went out and suspended Tom Brady for the Deflategate? And remember when they got in trouble for the Spygate? What kind of seasons did Tom Brady have after those?
Absolutely insane. Not only that, but when it was Bill Belichick rumored to want Garoppolo.
Now he's going into a season where everybody says he was a system quarterback. He was a product, and Bill Belichick he is going out there with a chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
And like I said before, he is about to play with the most weapons he's ever had.
Ever.
And when you give the greatest of all time the most weapons that he's ever had, he's going to do special things. And I can't wait to see it. I'm excited for the NFL season. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see how right we are or how wrong we are.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Or we're going to look fools.
You're going to be the one. Like, I gave you the credit for the NFC South being 2 games better than the NFC West and saying that they were better in the way or no way, and I gave you credit for wrong. If you are right and Tommy's sitting in that Super Bowl, baby, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to instead send you the $50 that should be going to your son and be like, thank you for getting my boy Tommy back to the Super Bowl. I'm fine with being wrong, people. Yeah. Russell, I tried to give you some credit. Screw it. Tommy's in. That's fine.
All right, guys. We'll be right back. Give us about 90 seconds, and we'll be right back with you.
I don't even know what peace feel like. My dreams died, this is real life. Tears in my eyes, looking at the ceiling like. I'm still in my dreams, I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still in my dreams, I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still in my dreams, I'm struggling. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I'm still in your dreams, I'm struggling. Do you see me? How can I not? All up in my face, every time that I talk, every time that I stop. I take a breath for a second, then you stepping on my chest, take a shot, keep my money's down. But you never keep him down. I'm a king with my crown and the king with the king of me. Won the victory when he rose from the ground. Jesus! Can't shut his name proud. Care about the in crowd. Care about truth. But that's something you don't know about. You ain't trying to make change. But your drawers wanna change me back to the old me. This in high school, you don't know me. No, all you just troll me. Got so. Can you hear me? I'm singing your dreams of the soul of you. Can you hear me? I'm singing.
What's going on, Triple Shot Sports family? This is Brandon Combs, host of the best podcast on the planet. That's the Triple Shot Sports Podcast. Be sure to join myself and Soup Boss Chad Lounder live for 2 hours. Yes, I said 2 hours every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Central on the RTF Sports Network Facebook page and YouTube. And if you miss any part of the show, you can hear us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on your drive home at 5 p.m. Eastern on rtfsportsnetwork.com. All right, we are back. Back.
Hey, real quick, guys, when we share, just a quick announcement here. When we share the link to this video that's coming through the Triple Shot Sports page where we tag RTF Network, if we put that in Sports Soup or on our personal pages, if you comment on our post where we share the video, we can't see those comments. We need you to go into the video directly, click on the video and start in there, and that will pop up its own comment stream, or go to Triple Shot Sports, or go to RTF Network, or our YouTube channel, which we're trying to push for more subscribers there on Triple Shot Sports Podcast. Commenting on those gets us the ability, especially Mr. Combs here, to see your comments to get you part of it. If you're commenting in Sports Soup and on our personal pages, we won't see it. It won't feed in.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking on that note, guys, I mean, look, we talk about this all the time, and we love you guys. We love interacting with you guys. We've got guys that are here with us every week. They're commenting, they're sharing, they're doing the things that we're asking them to do. The YouTube page is something we're trying to really build. And we'd really like to get to 100 subscribers. All sorts of things happen once you get to 100 subscribers. It allows us to change the URL for the page and all of that stuff. So if you can share the YouTube link, subscribe to the YouTube link, and just even if you can't join us on every episode live, I mean, at least it's a place where you can go, you can catch the show afterwards, or if you want to relive some of the stuff that we've talked about, be like, did they really just say that, and go back and play it again. That's the place to do it. So click the subscribe button, share it on your Facebook pages if you don't mind. Get other people to go ahead and click the link, and let's get to 100. If we get to 100, we're gonna have another giveaway like we just had with the Facebook likes and shares, and we'll get to all that here in a little bit. But definitely subscribe, definitely share, and thank you guys for all the love that you've shown so far.
We love it, guys. Everyone that's been here, like Mr. Combs said, thank you. We see some names repeat every single day. And listen, this is a bunch of our time that it takes to put this on because we love it. There's nothing of your commitment that you need to do except for giving us 2 hours of your day, 3 days a week. I absolutely love it. But start sharing that stuff. Get people involved and get on here and not only tell us why you think we're wrong, but start saying why some of the other people are wrong. We're not just talking just to you directly. If Jared Parrott and Joshua Seavey think that the other person is wrong in their comments, we'll get that stuff going. We'll get the debate talk going. And we'd love to have more people on here, but we need you guys to share that out, get more people on here.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the guy last night that sold me this Color Rush Tom Brady jersey, asked me why I needed it, and I told him, and he subscribed to the podcast on YouTube. So shout out to him.
That's awesome. Absolutely. And then so moving on, we did our NFL playoff predictions. And it is now time to get to our MVP, LVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and our Comeback Player of the Year. So I'm going to give it to you, boss. Who is your MVP and who is your LVP this season?
So my MVP, it comes down to my prediction of the two quarterbacks that are in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes continues to be the face of this league. He'll continue to dominate. He's got his weapons. None of them have left. Even Sammy Watkins, who some people think he's 135 years old, who said he was going to take a year off, decided he's going to stay. He's got a happy Kelsey. Everything, he's going to be great. But I've made this prediction over and over and over here. I just really, it drives me crazy how many people find a way to defend a guy like Dak Prescott, but no one talks about Russell Wilson. The guy does things with what was statistically the worst offensive line in all of football. If you watch those games, he is a superstar. He's absolutely dynamic. And if they had been able to do things that weren't crippling on defense, as that defense got older, that hurt them in that way, and they've been able to shape the offense around the way that Kansas City did for Mahomes, Russell Wilson would be a high-end star. And listen, I think he's going to go nuts this season. I think he's going to have his career year and his numbers year in and year out. And for some of our sports suit people who tried to beat this in, I agree with you. He gets overlooked every year in the conversation. If he's brought in down the tail end. If you go to the Super Bowl, if you go 14-2, if you dominate, and if you put yourself as the top team in the league like I'm predicting, even with Mahomes having a monster season, my MVP is going to be Russell Wilson coming out of Seattle. I really just think that this is going to be his year. I think it's going to be his year to shine. And man, he's going to actually make that 1 yard pass this time, because I don't think there's going to be beast mode to hand it off to. But he's going to be smarter in what he does. He's going to know how to call the audible and to get off on that. So, do I give you my LVP, or we're going to give you the MVP?
Go with the LVP too.
Here comes my LVP. Are you ready for this? And you're going to roll your eyes and just be like, come on, man, what the heck? This doesn't even make sense. It's not even accurate. I don't give two craps. The LVP isn't even a player. Bill O'Brien, the coach of the Houston Texans and the GM, you are the LVP already walking into the season, and your team, you're going to make Deshaun Watson look like ass at 7-9, and you, sir, are going to be out of a job. You are a joke for trading absolute junk and trash for the best wide receiver in this league. You took possibly one of the brightest, youngest quarterbacks next to Patrick Mahomes, and you decided, screw it. We just beat the Bills. We had a lead on Patrick Mahomes. What do most teams do right there? You add to your team. You go, okay, we need one more piece. We're one piece away. He was like, I don't need these. Screw it. We don't need these pieces. Now we're going to do better. I predicted they're going 7-9. It was a terrible, terrible move. They're weak. J.J. Watt's a great player, but he's going to get hurt. Clowney's not there anymore. I know you said that was a good defense. I don't think it's that good anymore. I think it's a weak defense. They're going 7-9. Bill O'Brien, you're out of Houston, and you are my LVP, even though you're not a P. I don't care. That's Sue Boss bringing his stuff, baby. I don't care. Bill O'Brien, you're LVP.
Guy.
Come on, kid. LVP.
That's like that. You're like Wayne with kind of way. Like that's not. That's fine, such a cop out. Anyway,
fine. Aaron Rodgers throws a hissy fit, and his team doesn't even make the playoffs, and he's your LVP. There you go. You happy? You're freaking happy, God. Kid. With that said, right. Bill O'Brien is the biggest joke in football.
I agree. He's a horrible, horrible coach.
Disgrace to the Patriots lineage.
For me, my MVP is Tom Brady. He's going to go out there, like I said, and he's going to put up some massive numbers. He is going to break some records. He is going to do things that he never even did in New England, and he is going to cement his legacy and win a Super Bowl, and he's also going to be the MVP. And my LVP, look, I'm going to your boys, man. I'm going to Cam Newton. I think that they signed him. I don't think that he is. I think he's the guy who I thought would make that team better. And then they lost they lose Chung, they lose Hightower. The defense isn't going to play well. And now you're going to get Cam Newton with a same situation he had in Carolina, where if they're not winning games, he's not happy. And so I see them at 5-11.
If he's not winning games, though, he's not staying in that whole season. He's not going to stay.
Exactly. I see him getting bounced as quarterback by week 5 or 6 and having them go to the rookie. So I have Cam Newton as my least valuable player.
Listen, I'm not
I
a big
picked a player and not a coach, though.
Oh, shut up, man! You're just jealous because I
could
came
have
up
said
with something
Bill
awesome.
Belichick.
I came up with something awesome. I came up with something that's going to create some buzz,
Jesus
and you're
Christ.
just upset about it. That's
All
okay.
right.
You're my Max Kellerman to my Stephen A. Smith. Whatever.
Who is
Whatever.
your defensive player of the year, sir?
Man, I went back and forth with this. Okay, because we only can do one. I don't know. I don't know what I do. Why I think that defensive player of the year. There's an AFC and an NFC. I don't get why I do that when it's literally just giving an MVP to the defensive side, which they don't do too. Whatever.
Right.
Anyways, there's one guy that I'm so high on that. Remember, usually your top end players that get these awards are on teams that are successful, right? They get more attention put on them. You get players that are on other teams that do just as well, if not better, and they get some attention, but not enough in the awards. We saw that with Chandler Jones. Even though the Cardinals did a little bit better to create some excitement, he had a monster year. He went up to the NFL top 100 as voted by the players, but he wasn't on high on defensive voting last year, as opposed to Gilmore, who the Patriots, even though struggled at defense, was more about what carried them to that 11-5 record or 12-4, whatever it was. Anyways, there are two guys, and one's AFC and one's NFC, that fit both of these. And I think for the AFC, and then I'm just going to give you kind of my breakdown and then do it. Fitzpatrick on the Steelers, man. When he got traded from Miami, people just were like, oh my goodness gracious, here goes Miami trading all their pieces. And Miami ended up doing pretty decent, including, upsetting the Patriots, knocking them out of that 2 seed in week 17. But man, Fitzpatrick, when he got out of that, he was just carrying the Steelers to be competitive. They should not have been 8-8 last year. That was a horrible, horrible team, even with their good players. And he came in and lit a fire. And now when you bring in Big Ben, and I see them being more successful, and even though they don't win the division, getting back in the playoffs and doing very well at 11-5, I think he's going to do really good. But it came down to this. You and I both have Tampa Bay doing really well. You've got them number one and winning the Super Bowl. I've got them number two at 13-3. Tom Brady, obviously, his story, it's going to be huge. There was a guy on that team. Can you even think about who I'm thinking about right now on the defense for Tampa Bay last year? Do you even know what name I'm thinking of?
No.
Yeah, see, exactly. Shaquille Barrett, who is on Tampa Bay, 19.5 sacks last year. And what does everyone talk about? And rightfully so, Khalil Mack and Donald. They're fantastic, change the game players, right? That's what he was to Tampa Bay, but because Tampa Bay was that mid-range team, it depended if Jameis Winston was throwing more to the defense or the offense. It was more about what was going on there and the two wide receivers and what he did. Now you're going to have a winning aspect with that team. Tom Brady going in, them being successful, more attention's going to come, and all of a sudden Barrett's going to have an even bigger year. I think he breaks 20 sacks this year, and that's just going to create more buzz for him. And so when I looked at both of them, the attention's going to go to Tampa Bay more. He should have got more attention last year. So your defensive player of the year is Shaquille Barrett out of Tampa Bay.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. It wouldn't shock me at all if it comes out of Tampa Bay. I have a different player. I have a player from my Chicago Bears, and it's not going to be the player that you guys are expecting me to say. That defense got infinitely better with their offseason moves. They went out and improved and got somebody to go on the opposite side of Mac so that he draws less double teams. They're going to be so worried about the ends that my boy Roquan Smith is going to open up gaps. He is coming in. He is going to be your defensive player of the year. People are going to forget about him, but Roquan Smith is an exciting linebacker. He is a guy who can. What are you laughing about?
Just the fact that you made this statement, people are going to forget about him, but you're going to make him the defensive player of the year.
No. Teams are going to forget about him.
Okay.
You idiot. I said they're going to be so worried about the ends that they're going to forget about Roquan Smith. It's going to open up gaps for him. He's probably going to have 15 to 20 sacks this year. He is probably going to have his 5 to 6 interceptions. He is sneaky fast. He is a hell of a linebacker, and on a great defense where he is one of those guys that nobody is really thinking is the guy that's going to beat them. He is going to have his best season, and he is going to be your defensive player of the year.
My only challenge in the aspect is my point in saying it's where the attention goes to, and what does it really end up being? I mean, it is to people who succeed, right? So it's not. I agree with you in every point. I laugh when people think that Chicago's only going to have 4 or 5 wins because they just put it all on Mitch and they think that's it. You guys are idiots. You don't even understand what this defense is capable of. And once Big Dick Nick steps in, you have no idea what's going to happen.
You're going to say sticks it in.
When he sticks it in there. But when you think this comes down to it still comes down to an aspect of popularity, and that's why Barrett leads that team. I'm sorry, man. If the Bears just light it up and the defense goes nuts, he may have just amazing numbers. But what's the first name to think of? And he's still going to have a great season. Khalil Mack is going to be the name. I know you said that's not what everyone's going to think, but honestly, if they go nuts. And let's say Chicago goes 12-4 and everyone goes crazy about that defense, Khalil Mack's going to get more votes just because of the aspect of his name and the popularity aspect of it. And that's not taken away from your pick. But, man, unfortunately,
I just think he's going to put up
Attaboy, Alan. Attaboy. Hey, Alan, how's about this? How's about this, Alan? If I win our fantasy football league, I'll send you $50 for you coming in every time. But how's about this? I'll sweeten the pot just a little bit. If I don't win, but I beat your father in the league, I beat him, I'll give you $25. So you get half of it if you come on every single show and make sure you say "Go Cardinals." And I beat your father. I don't even have to win the league, and I'll send you $25, buddy.
Joshua Seavey. You mean the guy that's not as good as Daniel Hunter? Get the. Yeah. That's the guy who's got freaking Kenny Galladay as the best wide receiver in the freaking division. Get the hell out of here. Jeez, I'm crow. All right. So
I love our fans. Keep it coming, guys. I love it.
For comeback player of the year, who do you got?
So what I want to say is what the feel-good story is right now, right? You and I talked about it before we came on the show. We talked about it in the show last week. I would love, and I think everyone in the world would love to be able to pick Alex Smith. I think it's the easy thing to pick. The problem is you and I have said it. It's one thing to be ready, but you look at that leg and even him in practice, and I think his upper body and what he's doing in his mechanics, I'm already watching some stuff, and I know it's just, practice, but okay, all right, that's what made him good. But he's still got like a wire, and the thing, a 350-pound dude has not landed on that leg yet. I'm really, really scared that he's not making it through this season if he goes in there and starts. So for me, you knew I had to bring him up at some point. My comeback player of the year, even though it wasn't because he was gone, because he had to go out because of injury, or he got hurt, or had an off season, my boy, Gronk, comeback player of the year, baby. Brady's favorite target. And that's the thing. That's why I didn't put Mike Evans in top 10, because as much as Mike Evans is just going to be blistering downfield, if Tom sees Gronk coming out with his hand up and a linebacker on him, you know what Tom's going to do? He loves throwing to Gronk. And when a guy goes 0 catches for 0 yards the year before and goes 68, 70 catches for almost $1,000 and about 7-8 touchdowns, Gronk's going to win comeback player of the year.
I
let's go, baby.
I definitely thought that we've agreed a lot this year, and this just kind of goes along with that because I have Gronk too. I have Gronk as my comeback player of the year. I think that Gronk has one of those years that he couldn't have with New England because he's not going to be the number one wide receiver target for Tom Brady. So he's going to be able to stay healthy longer. They've got more things to worry about on the offense than just Gronk, which they didn't have in New England. Gronk was a prime wide receiver in New England, and he's not going to be that here. He's going to put up some yards. He's going to put up some numbers, especially in the red zone. But he is going to be saved a lot, and he's not going to have the injury problems this year because of all the other weapons that they have. He's not going to have to do as much as he did. He's not going to be on the field as much as he was. And so I think Gronk stays healthy, even though I joke all the time that Gronk probably just woke up with another concussion. I think that he has one of those seasons, and I have him as comeback player of the year as well.
That's my boy. Hey, Gronk, you'll never probably hear this, but man, you're in my house. You're a legend, and I'll tell you, people love to rag on athletes, especially guys like him that are partiers. But people don't understand how smart he is, saving his money. He hasn't spent a single dime of any of his contract money. And listen, if you take the time to stop a whole line of people when your assistants are making everyone rush through in a line. You take the time, and you took my son Abram, who's now 14, and he still remembers it, and we have it hanging up in our living room. And you go, no, hold on. You look my boy in the eye, and he gave him 30 seconds, which was 29 seconds more he gave anyone else to talk to him, fist bump him, everything.
Yeah.
Gronk will always be – it's my job as a father to be a hero to my sons, and I don't like it when people put sports athletes too high up. But when you do something like that, that's a lasting memory to a household.
Yeah.
Gronk, I'll forever be one of your biggest fans, buddy.
All right. So there you have it. There's our NFL predictions. There's our off-season awards predictions. That's who we have. We're right. You're wrong. Live with it.
It kind of sucks because you and I are far too close with about everything else. So it's going to be you and me defending until Super Bowl weekend, defending each other in this aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, for my boy, Mr. Combs, everyone doubting the Bears, you are wrong.
Thank you, sir.
On that note, game on! Game on! He's feeling. Wow, he scores!
All right, and you know, guys, what that sound means. It is everybody's favorite time. It is time for our favorite game.
No way. Yes way.
That's right. We have Way or No Way, and we all know how this works by now, so we are going to go ahead and get right into it. And we're going to get into it with some basketball talk to start off. So, look, Game one, there were a lot of upsets in game ones in the other night in basketball. I mean, you had Orlando going out and just, making the Bucks look silly. And then you had the Portland Trail Blazers lighting it up from 3-point range and defeating the Lakers in game one. And I said it the other night. I said Portland's good enough to win one game, but I just don't see them winning the series. But that's our first Way or No Way. After that game the other night, the Portland Trail Blazers are going to upset the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round of the NBA playoffs.
Man, I still got to go no way. And Damian Lillard is my favorite basketball player, man. I said it last time I was on. Dame is my boy. I will celebrate it. Just like with your pick of Brady and the Bucks winning the Super Bowl, I will celebrate it. I will love to be wrong. I will love to be wrong, especially with my boy Sweet Pea, Paul Pierce, who makes some stupid comments as a commentator, by the way. He really does. He puts his own foot in his mouth, but saying, I don't want to hear the GOAT talk if they lose in the first round. I'm the same way. I don't want to hear the LeBron GOAT talk anymore if he went out west, got his player, and he loses as a 1 seed to an 8 seed. I don't care the COVID. I don't care the bubble. But I still, if you put $100 in front of me right now, I'm still going to put it on the Lakers. Listen, it was an amazing game. Dame's on fire. He is absolutely worthy of the bubble MVP, which is the weirdest thing in my opinion, but it brings some excitement and it's a reward for him. I love Dame, but you said it. They lit it up on fire from threes, and we talked about it before the show. Houston and OKC, you live by the three, you die by the three. And the problem is that you tend to die 4 games against 3 games living by it when you go by the three too much. And I think LeBron will pull it together enough. I think Portland's got at least another game. Hell, they may even get 2 more. But I still think the Lakers are coming out of this series. So no way, but I'm rooting for it to be a way.
I'm going Way here. I think that Portland is that good. I think that Portland has the ability to come out and do what they've done. I think the biggest thing that they went and did was add Melo. I mean,
Yes.
he has been absolutely back to Melo, the Melo that we know, and he has a different spark about him.
He went back to Melo in Denver, by the way.
Yeah,
and I'm the biggest Melo, like, not first ballot Hall of Famer. I've said it, but not to steal your thunder right now. That is Denver Melo who understands his role. Huge difference.
And he is, I mean, he is on another level right now. I think the level that he adds to an already really talented Portland Trailblazers team, I think that they have a shot to do this here. And it would not surprise me at all if they go out. If they do this, they have to do it quick. They have to win this in 5. They have to win it 4-1. They have to put their foot on the throat, and they have to go out and get it.
Listen, for everything that we rag on LeBron about a choke artist, if you give him that light, if this goes 3-3 or it goes 3-2, you're 100%. In order for Portland to win this series, they need to be up 3-1 or get the third win after a 2-2 game. If not, LeBron is going to absolutely say, hell no, that's not happening. And I told you the last time, Anthony Davis is a beast himself. He hasn't had to play it. If he needs to step in and do the Kyrie thing, he'll do that too. Deal. Attaboy, Allen. Attaboy, Allen. Let's go, baby.
All right.
Let's go.
So now this next one here is if the Magic and the Trailblazers upset the Lakers and the Bucks, the NBA will break out with COVID and shut down the bubble.
No way, because of the fact that they're proving people like me wrong. Because I said when they did this whole bubble thing, it's not going to work, and we started seeing things where people were sneaking out when they shouldn't be and getting wings at a strip club and all this stuff. But they have gotten 0 tests. Part of me believes that they may be covering some stuff, but nonetheless, they have kept this under check. This is their ability to prove, hey guys, we had a plan. And we did it right. And we proved to everyone we could when everyone said they couldn't. Because remember, NFL, they're doing everything to prove why they're better than anyone else. Adam Silver, though he got to number 2, he's still chasing the NFL. Yeah. He wants a reason to do it. And yes, losing LeBron and losing his MVP, Giannis, will be tough. But we just talked about it. Damian Lillard is lighting the league on fire, and people are talking about him right now. The Celtics are just doing amazing. Tatum is just becoming a star. Everyone was losing their minds about Luka the other night and what he's doing. And I don't know if you've heard of this guy's name before, Brandon, but Donovan Mitchell is absolutely destroying the league with his playing ability. Just want to remember his name. What's great is that those names I brought up are just some of the future. So though if LeBron and Giannis were to go out, you know what the NBA is going to do? That's okay. Our future stars are going to own this league in 5 years. We're going to put our attention behind them.
Who did Donovan Mitchell play for again?
The Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz. I'm writing this down. I'm gonna watch their next game. I'm gonna watch them.
UTAH. You're like Mormons are us.
Yeah. All right. Jazz. All right.
Jazz.
All right. Perfect. All right. So I'll see if I can watch that guy play for about 5 minutes before I turn it off. But yeah, no, they look. I'm just joking. I've actually watched a lot of I've watched basketball all day again today. Like I like, and I want to say this, I like what they're doing in the NBA inside the bubble. I love the virtual fans. I think that they're doing a great job with that. They were just showing. I'm watching the Lakers Portland right now, and they were just showing how Weezy is on. You know, he's one
been there every game for the Lakers. Yeah. He gives people virtual high fives like you and I right now. Try do it. Try do it with me. Ready? Wait, no, face the other way. You're terrible. You're terrible. No, this is bad. Right. This is bad. No, there you go. No, other way. There we go. That's exactly what happens every time Weezy tries to do it with a person at home. They're like,
that was awful. All right, wait. All right. I got to do. Oh shit! I got to do. Oh man. Oh my god. All right. So I'm going.
Performance by us right now, baby.
I'm going with the Wayne G answer here. Kind of way, no way. Look, I don't think that they'll shut down the bubble. It's kind of a joking way or no way. I don't think that they'll go that far, but I do think, and I've said this before, the NBA is if anybody can say something's rigged, it's the NBA. They're one of those. So if the Lakers start getting a bunch of calls, it wouldn't surprise me. If the Magic and the Trailblazers pull this thing off somehow, it's going to be through no help of officiating. It's going to be through no help of the NBA. So, I don't think they'd shut down the bubble, but I don't think that the NBA is going to do anything that they can to help these guys.
Let's be honest here. As much as people love to hate him, people love to love him.
Yep.
No matter what, you have to admit, if the Lakers get bounced in this first round, it will be the biggest story they have for it. There will be a 2 to 3 day period where all the attention in the world will go to the NBA, and then those ratings are going to go down. They have to market their future stars. They got a lot of great future stars in this game, but if LeBron loses and 2 or 3 days after the shock of it, the ratings are going to plummet. It's just the way it is.
So this morning, I get some news that Oscar De La Hoya is coming out of retirement at the age of 47. He's ending his in-ring retirement. And I just kind of started chuckling a little bit. So the next way or no way is De La Hoya, Mike Tyson, and Roy Jones Jr. coming back to the ring shows how irrelevant the sport of boxing has become.
100% way, man. And I hate saying it because I actually grew up a fan of boxing. One of my best friends, actually, I call him my best friend growing up. His grandfather was a Golden Glove boxer in the 50s. I just used to sit there. We visited him in Virginia. We just listened to the stories that he would tell. He was going through dementia and everything like that from hits in the head. But it's a sport that we as especially as men, and this is not to negate any female viewers we have in any way, shape, or form. I love like Courtney. I freaking love talking sports with her. She gets so pumped and stuff, but we're driven. We're built with fight, right? That's what we're built by. And that's why boxing's so good. But MMA, and when I got to see my first match back in the mid 90s in some crappy old auditorium at UFC, and it had Ken Shamrock, who at the time was not really a name, and the blood flying and the holds and everything like that. I was like, holy cow, this is insane.
Yeah.
And I name a boxer outside of the ones you just named right now in boxing. I mean, they had that one big story about the guy who won the heavyweight title last year, and it was like a day story because he was that chubby guy who beat the built guy, and then that was it.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather is the only one I could probably name you.
Yeah, Floyd. But what did Floyd Mayweather have to do? He had to go fight a UFC fighter in order to be able to bring a ton of attention. Yeah. Boxing is irrelevant. Now, with that said, I almost feel like you're writing the script for boxing, my friend, as a WWE fan, because when I heard Mike Tyson's coming back to box, I lost my shit. I was going nuts on Sports Soup. I love Mike Tyson.
I'm so scared for Roy Jones Jr.
Well, he's threatening to cancel. Did you see that today?
No, really?
He wants, because they're delaying it 2 months, he wants pay for the 2 months. I think he saw what you're about to bring up, and I'm not stealing your thunder, so I'll let you go. But I think he saw videos of Mike and was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. So, look, I this is definitely a wave for me. The sport of boxing has just become – I used to remember, man, we would wait for the pay-per-view would happen, and then we'd wait for it to come out on HBO and watch the fight. Because you didn't want to pay the $70 to watch Mike Tyson fight for 10 seconds before he knocks somebody out.
Or everyone in the neighborhood would come together and pull the money together to do it.
Yeah. And boxing used to be a big thing, and it's just not anymore. The sport of boxing has become so irrelevant. It's MMA is 100 times past it already.
It is.
And boxing is just not there. And Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr., look, as much as a funny gimmick as it's going to be, I'm not paying pay-per-view money to go rent that thing. I'm just not. Look, and not only that, I just said it. I'm scared for Roy Jones Jr. We saw him get knocked out against lesser opponents, guys that couldn't hit half as hard as Tyson. And now, even though Tyson's 55 years old, dude, Mike Tyson is still
in the best shape of his damn life.
That dude looks like a monster in those videos.
He has gotten in amazing shape
God.
after the hangover stuff and him being like, I'm getting old. He decided to get in shape. He looks like a beast.
Roy Jones Jr. if Roy Jones Jr. gets in the ring.
And listen, you just said it, MMA. It like what in September, and I keep bringing it up. Julia Avila is not even the top card, but she's going to be a future champ. I'm calling it right now in UFC. I'm going to get that pay-per-view, and I'm going to have some people over. And sorry COVID, but we're going to have some good time. But you know what I'm going to do for that Tyson fight? I'm probably going to go down to my local B-Dubs because they're doing it. All I got to do is buy some food and sit there and watch it for free because I'm not paying $70 for that pay-per-view. Even though I'm excited to see Tyson fight, I'm going to go somewhere and just see it for free and buy some food to enjoy it while I'm doing it. So,
sticking with MMA, there's an up-and-coming light heavyweight, and his name's Dominic Reyes. And if you hadn't heard of Dominic Reyes, look him up because he is a very talented fighter.
He is.
He's going to be a light heavyweight champion at some point here.
He is.
And maybe even soon because John Bones Jones relinquished the title. But he came out on Twitter. I think he's just going at it and trying to make a name for himself just because he knows John Bones Jones is leaving the light heavyweight division. So now he can talk shit because he's not going to be able to fight him.
Exactly.
He goes out and says, John Bones Jones, I'm the reason John Bones Jones relinquished the title and is leaving the light heavyweight division. So I ask you, is Dominic Reyes the reason that John Bones Jones vacated the light heavyweight title?
Absolutely bleeping 100% not, with no discredit to him in any way, shape, or form, because you're 100% right. He will be the light heavyweight champion of UFC coming up. He's an absolutely fantastic fighter. But John beat him, though by decision, and though some people say by controversy, he's beaten the guy. Yeah. He's already done rematches and beaten. He's beaten nearly every single competitor in that. It was literally a decision by UFC with him that said, Dana said, I need to get you into heavyweight because we need to be able to start getting new names in there. You've already cleaned this division out. Let's get it through. And John said, all right, that sounds good. Yeah. I know, you know damn well underneath the table, because we talk about how they get fights for purses. Dana turned around and told John, listen, I need to get this up. Here's some money. Vacate the title and let's go. Because he said, I had a conference call with UFC and we've decided that I'm going to vacate it. He didn't say, I'm done with this. I don't want to fight anymore in it. I'm vacating it. He's doing it for the attention. It's very smart because here we are, two random guys on a sports podcast show talking about it, getting his name out there. He's a hell of a fighter. By hell no, this is no way. Look, John Bone Jones would fight him tomorrow.
We talked the other day about this in A Way or No Way as well. John Bones Jones is the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. And he's the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. And he's still the greatest light heavyweight champion. He is a beast. And we said it, it's a shame that he couldn't just stay out of trouble. But he is still, when it comes to in-ring action, this man is scary. And this man is one of the toughest competitors out there. And there's no way that he left because Dominic Reyes, who John Bones Jones, like he's not there. But so
now if they fought tomorrow, do I think it'd be a heck of a match? Yeah. I think so. Do I think John's losing that match though? No, me neither. Outside of and UFC, a lucky hit to the chin, yeah, it could happen. But John, I'm putting my money on John on that. No, he's right. This guy is doing the smart thing. He's got a coach and he's got media personnel and everything. They're going, get him because they know, like you said, John can't come out and go, well, forget it. I'm going to take the title back and we're going to fight. Like,
could you imagine the look on Dominic Reyes' face if he did not say it?
Hold on. Let's get this some time.
He's gonna be like that freaking. He's gonna be like that Houston Astros coach Cintron. He's gonna be the one talking shit, and then as soon as he comes at him, hey, no.
Yeah, this tweet was him lifting up the pant leg. And if John all of a sudden turned around to fight him, he's gonna be like, All right, where my coach is.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
He's a hell of a fighter, but no, you're out of your mind, man. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Did we just clean sweep way or no way agreeing again? This crap's got to stop, man.
No, we did not agree. I said the Portland Trailblazers are going to
good. Okay, thank God. Yeah, Portland's been a little bit of a mini comeback. They're down by 9, still trying to jack up the 3 ball. So
it is time for some shop talk, guys.
Go.
Let's get comment in there.
Joshua Seavey, don't message me on my personal Facebook. Get in here if you're going to trash talk Tom Brady and put it in our comments. You've got 3 ways to do it. Stop messaging me. Stop putting it on Sports Soup. Get in here.
He just there we go. I told John Jones to do what Cormier couldn't. Beat Miocic and keep the belt. Ooh. That would be, man. I think John Jones is going to come into the heavyweight division, and I think he's going to dominate the heavyweight division too.
Yep.
This guy is such a well-rounded fighter. He can stand up with you. He can wrestle with you. He can submit you. This guy, John Jones, is an all-around fighter, and if he can stay out of trouble over the next 5 or 6 years, he's going to dominate this division. He's going to beat Miocic. He's going to work his way up there, and look, he's going to go
5
down
to 6 years, man. He's getting a title shot before the end of next year. I'm calling it right now. We're in August of 2020. He's getting a title shot before the end of next year. Dana White didn't sit here and get him to make this decision with him with a thought process of 4 to 5 years.
That's what I was going to say. There's no way they're going to make him give up the light heavyweight championship and then not give him a title fight. He's probably going to have maybe 2-3 fights at the most, and then he's going to get his shot. And so, look, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see him in the heavyweight division.
It's got to stay clean, man. Be smart.
Man, I hope he does. If he gets in, it'll be so disappointing that he does this, moves up to heavyweight, and to not get to see him versus Miocic would be a total disappointment.
You know, that's what Dana wants. That's the whole point of what he did. He wants Dana White versus John Jones title match. And if John messes it up by going out getting in trouble, that's going to suck.
Yeah. No, look, I can't wait to see it. It's going to be fun. Let's go through the comments here, see what some of our guys have said throughout the time that we've missed. We got, which do you think would be more impressive? Tom winning a title with his new weapons, or Bill winning a title with Cam?
There's no question about that. Bill winning with Cam Newton
would be super impressive. Tom Brady is already the GOAT, and we've said it over and over, JJ. He's getting better weapons than he had, even when he had potentially one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, Randy Moss. This is the best offense he's ever had. I don't care if he's 43. He's just got to be smart. Cam Newton winning a title with that team in the AFC with the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Bills, that's way more impressive. I mean, Cam Newton's still a talented quarterback. Cam Newton
could
still win. The problem I have with the Patriots and why I don't think it is because of all their defensive guys that have opted out for this year. When you lose, losing Hightower and losing Chung is putting a huge hole in that defense.
Well, you keep bringing up the defense, which is dead on. But let's go back to the offense. Who's Cam Newton throwing to? Who's his number one receiver? Julian Edelman at 34 years old, who's a slot receiver, is your deep, wide number one receiver on this team.
See, that's the thing. Tom Brady would have won with them. Tom Brady would have been 12-4 with that team.
Again. That's why I'm saying it's more impressive with Cam Newton. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm saying it right now. I don't care if it's because of every injury in the face of the earth happens. If the New England Patriots find some way to even make it to the Super Bowl this year, you better rename that Lombardi Trophy the Bill Belichick Esquire Top Mr. King Trophy on the face of the earth. I don't give two shits what you think about his cheating aspect. If he finds a way to even get to the Super Bowl, that trophy needs to be renamed to the Bill Belichick Trophy.
Yeah, the Bill Belichick. As much as I say Tom's going to go out there and cement his legacy, I feel like he has more to prove than Bill Belichick does.
Yeah, he does.
I feel like if Tom Brady goes out there and goes, 7-9 or even 9-7, I think that, which I don't think there's any way they do, but if he did, I think that you're going to have the people that said he was a system quarterback feel like they're right.
Yep.
And you're never, no matter what, Bill Belichick wins in that situation, because Bill Belichick at that point becomes the greatest coach of all time, which I think he already might be. And then you give, Bill Belichick going out there, and even if he goes 2-14 with this Patriots team, nobody's going to blame him because he doesn't have anything.
Well, here's that aspect. He doesn't have anyone, and he didn't before some people opt out, have cap space, but most of these free agents have signed anyways, right?
Yeah.
But you also got to remember the aspect of the fact that, everyone says, well, you had Tom Brady. He was successful before Tom Brady. People forget, no, he didn't win a Super Bowl in Cleveland, but he made Cleveland an actually competitive team. People act like that wasn't a big deal. He was a huge aspect of why Bill Parcells was so successful. And I truly believe Bill Belichick held on, knowing, okay, fine, I want that wins record. I want to be able to be the person that's been to the most Super Bowls ever. But not only that, he knows after this year, he has 4 straight years of over $100 million of cap space. You're talking about a guy that already, at least on the defensive end, is a drafting genius. And you're going to give him over $100 million in cap space. His whole desire is, after this year, to build another 4 or 5 year dynasty that can compete with the Chiefs and the Ravens in the AFC.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. All right. So we are out of time. Soup Boss, do you want to let these people know where they can find us, how they can find us? And do you want to talk about some incentive to find us?
I want to first say go Cardinals before you mute my mic. Yes. But guys, thank you so much. Mute my mic. Hey, I want to promote what we're doing. Mute my mic. Guys, we love the support. We love everyone coming in. All my Sports Soup people, thank you for coming in. All of our people on Facebook coming in. We love it, love it, love it. But we need to keep this going. We have to grow even more. We need your support. We need the interaction. I've got this phone attached to me when I'm at work now, and it's got everything on Twitter. It's got YouTube. It's got Instagram. I'm getting the connections and everything. We need you to be able to help us out. So Twitter, Instagram, at 3Shot Sports. So the number 3 Shot Sports. You can find us there. Please get on there, comment, hashtag everything with it. Get more people driven into it. Here on the RTF Sports Network page on Facebook, and Triple Shot Sports podcast page on Facebook as well. You can always find us here. But right now with YouTube, we are trying to really drive our YouTube aspect to be able to get more of a recognized domain name, to be able to get people on there. If you comment on YouTube on the live video, that still comes in just like Facebook. We've had some great commenters before. We need you to get on there, like, subscribe. So Triple Shot Sports Podcast. I know it's long, but Triple Shot Sports Podcast on YouTube. We are now driven to the top of that. I've worked with YouTube. Please subscribe. We've got a low number now, but we want to drive it up, and we've got a goal right now. All we want to get to for the first challenge for you guys is to 100 subscribers. We were looking at some bigger numbers. I tried to drive Mr. Combs to make the goal even bigger, but 100 subscribers. Please get us to 100 subscribers. Click subscribe, share it, get that bell to be able to get notifications that when we're on live or we get it scheduled. And if we get to 100 subscribers, what are we going to do, Mr. Combs?
So there are a lot of things that we can do. So I've got, like I showed earlier, I showed the Bears helmet, the Roquan Smith. There is a lot of memorabilia that I have that is autographed memorabilia. As you can see, some of the stuff that's behind me, I got a Lance Brigg helmet here, a Jimbo Covert football. I've got a Fernando Tatis jersey. I've got all sorts of autographed memorabilia that I am willing to part with. I'm going to put up a bunch of stuff that you can choose from. We're probably going to choose, I say out of 100, let's choose 5 winners. I'm going to let 5 winners.
Wait, hold on. You're blowing me away. We're going to do 5 winners. We should have done 200 or something. But if you want to do this, this is your stuff, baby. Go. This is crazy.
we're gonna pick 5 winners, and what you're gonna do, I'm gonna put up a list of stuff you can choose from. There are gonna be 5 items that you can choose from, 5 things that you can win. We will draw numbers. We will draw people. What I'll do is I'll put everything into a randomizer. And in the randomizer, it'll have everybody's name who is a subscriber on YouTube. You have to be a subscriber on YouTube to get in this one now. You can't just be on the Facebook page. You can't just be live. You have to be a YouTube subscriber to be in this. And then you have to be live with us when we do the drawing. And everybody's name is going to go into this thing. Okay? And then I'm going to pull up, and the first 5 names that are in that randomizer, they're going to win. And they're going to be able to pick in order. The number 1 name will get to pick first. Number 2 name will get to pick second, all the way down to number 5. I'll probably throw, 6 or 7 items out there. I got some things that I can give away. I'll put a couple gift cards in there too instead. And we'll, give you guys some choices on what you want to choose. I've got a Nick Chubb mini helmet coming, so that's probably going to be in there too.
A lot of Nick Chubb fans in Sports Soup, man.
Yeah,
so
and Nick Chubb's a name, and he's going to be a great running back. So let's do this. Let's get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, and we'll have some giveaways. So thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We love you guys. We will see you again soon. Soup Boss, what do you got to say to send us out of here?
Go Bears, baby.
Atta boy. Fuck the Cardinals.